Welcome to Alabama, a state in the southeastern region of the United States, known for its rich history, diverse geography, and vibrant culture. Alabama borders Tennessee to the north, Georgia to the east, Florida and the Gulf of Mexico to the south, and Mississippi to the west. The state capital is Montgomery, while its largest city by population and area is Huntsville. The north of the state is dominated by the mountainous Tennessee Valley, while the south is home to Mobile Bay, a historically significant port. Greater Birmingham is Alabama's largest metropolitan area and its economic center. American football, particularly at the college level, plays a major part of the state's culture. Originally home to many native tribes, present-day Alabama was a Spanish territory beginning in the 16th century, until the French acquired it in the early 18th century. The British won the territory in 1763, until losing it in the American Revolutionary War. Spain held Mobile as part of Spanish West Florida until 1813. In December 1819, Alabama was recognized as a state. During the antebellum period, Alabama was a major producer of cotton and widely used African American slave labor. In 1861, the state seceded from the United States to become part of the Confederate States of America, with Montgomery acting as its first capital, and rejoined the Union in 1868. Following the American Civil War, Alabama suffered decades of economic hardship, in part due to agriculture and a few cash crops being the main driver of the state's economy. Similar to other former slave states, Alabamian legislators employed Jim Crow laws from the late 19th century up until the 1960s. High-profile events such as the Selma to Montgomery March made the state a major focal point of the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 1960s. During and after World War II, Alabama grew as the state's economy diversified with new industries. NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville helped Alabama's economic growth in the mid to late 20th century by developing an aerospace industry. Alabama's economy in the 21st century is based on automotive, finance, tourism, manufacturing, aerospace, mineral extraction, healthcare, education, retail, and technology. The name Alabama has a rich history, derived from the Alabama people, a Muscogee-speaking tribe that lived along the upper reaches of the Alabama River. In the Alabama language, the word for a person of Alabama lineage is Albamo, with varying spellings across historical sources. The Mountville archaeological site in Hale County was occupied by Native Americans of the Mississippian culture from 1000 to 1450 CE. Indigenous peoples of varying cultures lived in the area for thousands of years, before the advent of European colonization. Trade with the northeastern tribes by the Ohio River began during the Burial Mound period, 1000 BCE, 700 CE, and continued until European contact. The agrarian Mississippian culture covered most of the state from 1000 to 1600 CE, with one of its major centers built at what is now the Moundville Archaeological Site in Moundville, Alabama. The European settlement in Alabama was first founded by the Spanish during their exploration of North America in the 16th century. The expedition of Hernando de Soto passed through Mobile and other parts of the state in 1540. More than 160 years later, the French founded the region's first European settlement at Old Mobile in 1702. After the French lost to the British in 1763, the territory was ceded to Great Britain and became a British colony. During the American Revolution, Alabama was a Loyalist stronghold, and many settlers fought against the American forces. During the American Civil War, Alabama seceded from the Union and joined the Confederate States of America. After the war, Alabama was occupied by federal troops during the Reconstruction era, and many African Americans were elected to public office. However, with the end of Reconstruction, Alabama implemented Jim Crow laws, which enforced racial segregation and disenfranchisement. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s saw major activism and protests in Alabama, including the Montgomery bus boycott and the Selma to Montgomery marches. Today, Alabama is a thriving state with a diverse economy, rich culture, and a complex history. Alabama's construction industry is booming, with major projects such as the Birmingham Airport renovation and the Huntsville Space and Rocket Center expansion. The state government is divided into three branches: the legislative, executive, and judicial. The governor serves as the chief executive, and the legislature is composed of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Alabama has a progressive income tax, with rates ranging from 2% to 5%. The state also has a sales tax of 4%. County governments in Alabama are responsible for providing services such as law enforcement, healthcare, and infrastructure. Local governments, such as cities and towns, also have their own governments and services. Politics in Alabama are diverse, with both Democratic and Republican parties having a strong presence in the state. Education in Alabama is overseen by the State Department of Education, and the state has a number of public and private universities, including the University of Alabama and Auburn University. Higher education in Alabama is also thriving, with a number of community colleges and technical schools throughout the state. The largest institutions in Alabama include the University of Alabama, Auburn University, and the University of Alabama at Birmingham. The oldest institutions in Alabama include the University of North Alabama, founded in 1830, and Spring Hill College, founded in 1830. Alabama's institutions are accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, the Association for Biblical Higher Education, and the Council on Occupational Education. Alabama's institutions are also highly ranked, with the University of Alabama ranked 31st in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Media in Alabama includes a number of newspapers, such as the Birmingham News and the Mobile Press Register, as well as television stations and radio stations. Literature in Alabama has a rich history, with authors such as Harper Lee and Winston Groom hailing from the state. Sports in Alabama are also popular, with the University of Alabama's football team winning several national championships. Transportation in Alabama includes a number of airports, including the Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport, as well as major highways and interstates. The Port of Mobile is one of the busiest ports in the United States, handling cargo and shipments from around the world. The Tennessee-Tombigbee Waterway is a major transportation route, connecting the Tennessee River to the Gulf of Mexico. The Alabama Highway Patrol is responsible for enforcing traffic laws and ensuring public safety on the state's highways. The Birmingham International Airport is a major hub for air travel in the state, with flights to destinations across the country and around the world. The Montgomery Regional Airport is another major airport in the state, serving the capital city and surrounding areas. The Huntsville International Airport is a major hub for air travel in northern Alabama, with flights to destinations across the country and around the world. The Mobile Regional Airport is a major airport in southern Alabama, serving the Gulf Coast region and surrounding areas. Alabama's rail network is extensive, with major railroads such as CSX and Norfolk Southern operating in the state. The state's bus system, operated by Greyhound and other companies, provides public transportation to cities and towns across Alabama. Alabama's waterways, including the Tennessee River and the Gulf of Mexico, provide a major transportation route for cargo and passengers. The Alabama State Capitol Building is the seat of government for the state and is located in Montgomery. The governor of Alabama is the chief executive of the state and is responsible for overseeing the state's government and budget. The Alabama State Legislature is made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and is responsible for passing laws and approving the state's budget. The Supreme Court of Alabama is the highest court in the state, and has the final say on matters of state law and constitutionality. Alabama's court system is made up of circuit courts, district courts, and municipal courts, and is responsible for hearing cases and administering justice across the state. Alabama's law enforcement agencies, including the Alabama State Patrol and local police departments, work to keep communities safe and enforce state laws. The Alabama Department of Corrections is responsible for operating the state's prisons and rehabilitating offenders. That's a brief look at the state of Alabama's government and law enforcement. From the governor's office to the local police departments, Alabama's government works to serve and protect its citizens.